It was said a Destiny killer was coming, but it won't be Outriders. So, if you're a Destiny vet and was hoping that Outriders was going to be the next game to replace Destiny for you, I'm here to tell you, it's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong, I see Outriders being a great game, just not a game that's going to be the Destiny killer. I've played Destiny since it launched in 2014, and there are multiple reasons why I don't think Outriders will replace Destiny. And the big one is that the story in Outriders is just okay. I didn't really care that much for it. I just wanted my powers and I wanted to kill things. I didn't care who I was fighting and I didn't care why. Sure, there's a war going on with the two human factions because one side was mad they all landed and died, and Enoch was a terrible planet. But to be fair, we did try to warn them. I know this could be the case for Destiny as well, and for a long time as Guardians, we really didn't know why we were fighting against the darkness. We were just murdering everything because we were told to. But the big difference between the two games is that Destiny has memorable characters. I would do anything for Eris Morn and the Vanguard. Shoot, even the Broombot. Outriders doesn't have any memorable characters. I thought I was gonna have one, to be honest, but spoiler, everyone dies in this game. You meet one person and they die 10 seconds later. It's literally the shortest character development I've ever seen in a game. And again, this is all based from the demo, so yeah, things could change. We got creepy Seth out there fighting a bigger war, which I'm sure we'll help with, and we still gotta figure out the mystery of the signal. But either way, I don't think the story and more importantly the characters are enough to beat Destiny in that department. I also feel Outriders doesn't have an identity in its combat yet. The game has cover elements from Gears of War, but at the same time the game wants you to be more in the enemy's face killing them. At least right now in the demo, it feels not connected. I'm not quite sure I can explain what I mean. Is this game a cover-based game or an up in your enemy's face game? I found being a Devastator early on quite difficult, since you only heal when the enemies die right next to you. It's hard to be in cover and healing at the same time. Granted though, when you gear up and get the necessary skills, the Devastator becomes amazing. I just felt odd at times not knowing what I should be doing. Should I be in cover or should I not be? Destiny is one of, if not the best FPS shooters I've ever played. The gun handling is amazing, and to me, Outriders doesn't beat it. I know it's a third-person shooter game, and it is different, but if you're coming over from Destiny, I think these three things are the core of what makes Destiny so good. The story, the characters, and the combat. With the beta of Outriders, I felt when comparing to Destiny, it doesn't and it won't beat Destiny in these areas, even with the full release. Now, I'm not saying Outriders is a trash game, far from it. Outriders is just completely different than Destiny. Yes, it's a looter shooter and you're an Outrider with powers, which is basically a Guardian. And I think that's as far as the comparisons can really go. My comparisons I just listed above are actually really superficial. I wanted to make them so you can see some of the topics I think others would compare to Destiny. But at the end of the day, Outriders is more Diablo if it was a third-person shooter. And I do have a separate video that I'll link on the screen and below if you do want to check that out. Outriders I think will do well in its own corner. The powers are actually really cool and play a huge part in the character's success. In Destiny, your powers go along with your weapons, but in Outriders, the powers are the star of the show. Outriders will offer a lot of diversity as well, more than Destiny can. There are so many ways to change your character too, with powers, skills, guns, and mods. Speaking of the guns real quick, Outriders does have an edge for them since they don't really need to be monitored for overpoweredness. Since there is no PvP, there isn't really a huge need to worry about a gun if it's slightly OP. So Outriders does have that going for them. And Outriders is a different grinding beast than Destiny is. I don't want to say it's more hardcore, but I think and I hope it's going to be a lot more of a challenge, if the world tiers and hopefully the difficulty of the expeditions are supposed to go by. The one thing that will hold Outriders back is that it's not a live service game though, which means the base game, that's all there's going to be, and there's not going to be any continued content, unless it actually does really well and the devs consider it. But at the end of the day, more competition in the looter shooter space is really good, especially if Outriders does really well. It will force future games to step up. But yeah guys, Destiny isn't going anywhere, if ever, and there is room for both games to coexist. So if you're looking for a break from Destiny and a fun time exploding enemies with some ridiculous guns and powers, and if you're looking for a new looter shooter in general to grind, Outriders I believe will be definitely worth it. I do recommend trying out the beta, although it doesn't really show enough. It does give a decent sense of the classes, and overall it gives a good vibe that this game isn't gonna suck. Although I do wish we saw more open areas in the demo to fight in instead of these tiny fighting areas, but that's just me being picky. Now the question is, are you gonna supplement some Outriders when Destiny has downtime? Or are you gonna go full on in Outriders? I wanna know what you guys are thinking down below. A like on this video would be greatly appreciated if you found this video insightful, and until next time, peace.